Okay, I think we're live. So, hello everyone. I'm Philip. I'm CTO and co-founder of Vue Storefront. With me, there's Jacob, and there's also Aitor. Me and Jacob are actually right now on the Vue.js London conference in London. So, this is a live stream from the speakers room. Yeah, Aitor, can you put the first slide? Awesome. So I'm welcoming all of you in the new format of Vue Storefront community updates. We did a lot of experiments in the past on how to do this properly, and we figured out that the best way is actually to give you a very condensed information once per month about everything that has happened in the community. And in the end, there will be occasion, to ask questions if you have some. Of course, you can also ask those questions later on Discord or basically anywhere else. And right now, I'm passing my voice to Aitor, who is our head of open source and who is the initiator of this whole meeting and author of this beautiful presentation.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to our first monthly update for the community, and I'll welcome you to our new format. So let's start. Let's start with our Vue Storefront community update and what we have brought you that we are closer to the community more and more. So right now, we're going to start the monthly updates even more frequently. So each month we're going to perform a new monthly update to show our new updates from the core team and other integrators and bring the community closer to us. So our idea is that each month we're going to have this monthly update with news and features from all the integrators and all the Vue Storefront projects, so we can show you guys what we've been doing and what are the future plans from Vue Storefront. So what you can start from now on is that we started the Vue Storefront repository standardization, and we added a lot of quality of life improvement and a lot of developer experience from all the Vue Storefront repositories. So we added new issue templates and new bug issues templates for all the repositories and created this as a repository standards. We created new GitHub actions, automatations, ICDs, integrations, and made that as templates. So once you start contributing to our GitHub's repositories, once you know one repository, we start to know all Vue Storefront repositories. So the idea is that you get better and better at development. You can contribute to all Vue Storefront code and Vue Storefront repositories. So we eliminate the barriers between the developer and the community, so we can start contributing to all the Vue Storefront code as well. And we start the process of repository separation. So we take all the integrations and take the code and have all of them created as a different repositories and make them an exclusive repository. So we're going to have the repositories for the integrations, the repositories for the core, the repositories for the templates. And by doing that, we create what we find the best place for developing the code and making it easier for newcomers to participate, creating issues, creating PRs, and contributing to the project. And that's what we made. And as I said, we are starting to get closer to our contributors. We're prioritizing the community more and more with open communication, with taking special care of the community, getting the Discord as a main point of contact between our community and the core team. So we want to create this bond, this special bond between our development team, our core team, and the community. So if you go to our Vue Storefront deals, we're going to see that the main important thing is the change and life improvements that we made in our repositories. So first, we created the Vue Storefront 1 repository separated from the core repository. So we have right now the Vue Storefront 1 repository and the core repository, which hold the Vue Storefront 2. So if you want to have the code for Vue Storefront 1, you can go to the Vue Storefront -1 repository and have your issues there, have your PR dev directly for Vue Storefront 1. And if you want to have the code for Vue Storefront 2, and you can go to the main repository, the Vue Storefront 2. the Vue Storefront, and there you're going to have the code for the Vue Storefront 2 and issues for the Vue Storefront 2, the PRs. And by doing that, you separate the Vue Storefront 1 from 2. You're going to see that we have people joining development in 2 repositories. Going to be much easier. This will allow the development of both of the projects faster without the problematic release of projects, align of branches, and this make the alignment of each one of the projects faster for releases and release cycles. And if you start by looking on all those quality of life improvements, you're going to see that we have two tiers of integration developed by the Vue Storefront team. One is the enterprise tier, and the other one is the open source tier. So we have to start understand what are those enterprise and open source tiers. So the enterprise tier is the one that focuses on platforms that are premium or enterprise platforms. So these development tiers are focused only for the enterprise development. But as we are a community-focused development, we have the open source tiers, which are focused on the open source integrations. So all the open source integrations will always be open source and focus on the open source platforms. So we have the open source integrations like Magento, Venger being developed for the open source and will be open source. And that's why you created those tiers and have the separation for those tiers. And if you finalize those quality of life improvements, once you have the repository separated, you're going to see that we'll be able to create a faster release cycle for the Vue Storefront. So we're going to have new features, new fixes, new enhancements being developed and released for the public faster and faster. And by doing that, you're going to see that we're going to provide new Vue Storefront releases, new Vue Storefront features, and new Vue Storefront enhancements being out there in the wild faster and faster by your feedbacks, by your enhancements, by all the pull requests that you made, and that will bring us for what you have bring to the next. That is the Vue Storefront 2.43, which brings us a new version and good improvements. What good improvements that you brought? We brought new composables to our composable list, the use search, the use store, and the use forgot password. Those composables are directly aligned to the categories, to the multi-store configuration, and the user with the use forgot password. It's features and enhancement that weren't present the past versions of Vue Storefront and now are present in this current version of Vue Storefront. We add a new caching layer control for the product, the category, and the homepage. And we improved the Vue Storefront cache package. So we are developing the better performance for the Vue Storefront. We want you to have always the better performance when using Vue Storefront. And we also created a new middleware for the checkout process. You'll notice that once you develop your checkout steps, the user was having trouble by skipping steps or changing steps. And we developed a middleware for the checkout process. So we managed, by using this middleware, to create a checkout flow so you can control when the user can skip the steps or change the steps by using this new checkout process middleware. And we made a lot of improvements and fixes under the UI, fixing some bugs, making some seamless experience, and this adjusting the UI using the Storefront UI. So it's better and it's faster, and all those changes you can find using the core package. So let's talk about the open source and the Magento 2 development. Everyone wants to talk about the Magento 2. So right now we have the Magento 2 RC 4.1, and it's currently production ready for testing and POC development. Right now you can start using for developing a store and report any issues for the development team. So it's good. You can start the development. You can see it in action. You can get it running without any problem. And we are using it as production ready in a lot of developers, and a lot of stores are already in use as production ready and getting ready for when it's come closer to the stable. The stable version is planned to be released in the end of October, beginning of November. And once it's get to the stable, the changes will be minimal from the current RC. And I want to welcome our new team members, Bogdan Polesi and Kevin Gorgon, who are new team members for the Magento 2 development team. And I, as a development for the Magento, and I, as an open source contributor, I want to tell you that we, as a community, we, as an open source developer, we want you to participate in the development of this integration, because without you, we can't continue as always faster and faster, because we need you to contribute of this integration. We need you to start develop your store, reporting new issues, creating new pull requests. So participate in this process of development, create your store, use this new version, use for creating a proof of concept, see it in action, use it and report us so we can help you and make it available with a better version. I want to introduce you to Jacob to talk more about the Venger and the Venger development for the Vue Storefront.
Sure. So in terms of Venger, there is plenty of time that already passed in for the beta 2 version. So we are planning to release a new version, beta 3, next week with several bug fixes, new features, and improved docs as well, so that it will be easier to understand how to work with this integration. And so we have better docs that include video tutorials, include an interview with Michael Bromley, who is a founder of Venger. But we also have better docs in terms of theme, package reference, integrations. And in terms of integrations, we have an integration with Storyblok already implemented for the template. So if you are creating a template of Venger integration, you can already switch to a certain branch where the Storyblok integration is implemented. So this is like integration on the Vue Storefront part. What we want to do in the next version as well is to create a plugin to Storyblok that will enable you to load or to fetch the products from Venger directly to Storyblok, so that you can include it in your CMS. And we are also closer to contributors, looking for new people who can join the project and help us develop new features, find bugs and fix bugs as well. So stay tuned, and if you are interested in joining us, please do not hesitate to ping us at #Venger channel in Vue Storefront Discord server.
Thank you, Jacob. So let's welcome some new integrators to the Vue Storefront 2. We have the Keyboard Commerce join us, developed by the Keyboard Commerce guys. We have the Spring integration developed by the Upside Lab. We have the Not Commerce being developed by the Magento guys. We have the Odo integrations developed by the Odo Gap. And we have the PrestaShop integrations developed by the Bean Shop. And especially the Bean Shop developed the REST API for the PrestaShop that was a paid module, and they made it available as an open source module, so everyone in the community could use it and made it available. So I want to thank you guys from Bean Shop to make this module available and making very welcome for them, because it's very important when you make a module that is paid open source and you can embrace the open source community. Thank you so much. So let's talk more about the Storefront UI with Jacob.
Okay, so in terms of Storefront UI, we recently released a version, stable version 11, where we have introduced a new topic, a new template section, which are more advanced components than organisms. So we can have SF shipping, SF payment, so all the components that are available as a part of the checkout process. We have updated the docs, reorganized them, and we have also released a Storefront UI module for Next. So in terms of Storefront UI module for Next, it is already part of Next or of modules.next.js, so you can check them out, check it out over there. So the process is now much simpler. Instead of importing a Vue package, we are importing just one Next module in your module section, and it will work just like that. So much simpler in process of adding a Storefront UI to your Next project. We have also updated the docs and we reorganized them, so we hope that it is much more readable right now and easier to understand. And also we have recorded several video tutorials regarding Storefront UI, so adding Storefront UI to your project, how to override colors, how to override fonts, how to add Tailwind CSS to your project, and so on and so on. And we are planning to release more videos as well. And we are closer to contributors because we would like you to also test that with us, create new features, fix bugs, improve our docs, maybe join our videos as guests. So feel free to join us. You can contact us in the Storefront UI channel in Vue Storefront Discord. So stay tuned.
Aitor, we don't hear you.
Oh, sorry.
No worries.
One more thing, we have planned a lot for the future. We have hackathons and events for the future. A lot of hackathons and events developed for the future. And we have developer sponsorship programs developed for the future also. Yes, we're going to sponsorship developers and open source developers. It's very good for the community. We want to give it back for the community, and this is very important. We want to create a developer ambassadors program. So we want the developers to evangelize the Vue Storefront word around the globe, around the community and the Vue community. And we will start creating this program and start selecting people to be our Vue Storefront developers ambassadors. So please stay put for news on those programs and on those events. And we have a bigger roadmap with dedicated community only for the community. So we have created a roadmap for the next year only for the community, because we know that community is very important to us, and the community is a big part of the Vue Storefront and how the Vue Storefront were created. So for us, this is very important. And I want to call it Philip for the next one. So it's stuck on Vue.js Live.
Yeah, it actually happened, but it will be available on YouTube. So guys, if you are interested in like optimizing performance, and I guess you are, then you're probably also interested on how actually the performance measurement tooling works. So I gave a talk about that on Vue.js London. I think it will be available on YouTube very soon. So make sure to check that. And I think that would be it about what we wanted to share with you. And we'd be more than happy to hear opinions. And also, if you have any kind of questions, we're here to answer them.
Have a Q&A open spot.
We'll be here like for 5 next minutes, I guess, in case you want to ask some questions. And if not, then enjoy the day. Later, do you know some jokes in the meantime?
I'm not the best joke
They
guy.
don't need to be the best ones.
Okay, so people are shy today. So
Yeah, thank you, Simon. Yeah, in the meantime, like maybe I think we already shared a lot about the funding and our plans, but keep an eye on us because we are basically focusing on two things right now. One of them is making Vue Storefront available for all e-commerce platforms, and we've seen today on this presentation that we are having 4 new integrations. And another thing is that we want to deliver actually a whole chain of tools that are supporting you on this journey of delivering a front end from the moment when you're starting the design to the moment when you're deploying your application. So you could also expect a lot of new tools from us. Okay, I think we have some questions.
Yeah, here for me. Yeah, so the talk went very good, I think.
To put that in a context, because not all of you are with us, so me and Jacob, we are in London right now on the Vue.js London conference. This conference is hybrid, so there's a live stream and there's in-person part, which we are on. And it was the first time Jacob was able to talk on the conference. I mean, he's talking.
Sounded strange.
Yeah, I mean, he talks for quite some time already.
Yeah.
I think like at least 20 years, but it was his first conference. And he was talking about open source e-commerce, so using Venger and using Vue Storefront.
Yeah, so the talk was, I would say, quite interesting because it contained both knowledge about front end and the back end of e-commerce. So I noticed some tweets from several guys that they were quite interested in the part about Nest.js, about Venger. So I would say that it went quite well.
Thank you. All kudos to Aitor, I guess. And contributors, of course.
Mm-hmm.
yeah, all contributors. There's a lot of contributors. And we have a question from Diogo. Do you guys have plans for open source modules for payment, feedback, Google Marketplace?
I'm not sure exactly what you mean by open source module for feedback in Google Marketplace, but for sure we will be creating open source integrations for payments for different integrations. But what you have to keep in mind is that usually when we are making, for example, a module for PayPal, this is a module that is available for just one integration because like there's a lot of moving parts, and some of them are related to the storefront, some of them are related to the backend platform itself. So for the open source integrations, for sure, we have plans to develop ones. Yeah, I think that's the answer. If you could, tell me what you mean by feedback and Google Marketplace, maybe I can answer also those parts.
Are there plans to support Magento page builder of the box in VSF? The Magento page builder is part of the Magento right now on the open source. So in the future, will be plans to create the connector or how the integration will be developed, but it's not part of the integration roadmap right now because there are other features to be done, but there is integration of the Adobe experience being developed, and it's 2 different parts. So will be supported in the future, yes, but not right now.
Yeah, but there is also a good news. I mean, I will not spoil anything right now, but we just hired a very, very experienced and I think well-known guy in the Magento community to take the lead of the integration. We'll probably be able to introduce him on the next update, but I think he will be able to focus a little bit more on the Magento ecosystem as well, not only on the Magento itself.
Yeah. Do you guys have any boilerplate or methods to start Vue Storefront without Storefront UI or completely custom UI?
Not yet. I mean, we have plans for that, but right now, if you want to do this, just delete the pages and delete the components directory, and you have that. I mean, it's, it is a little bit of work, but if you think about how long it takes to delete that, or to delete at least, a style and template section in every component, it's not that much of work.
Yeah.
We can automate that for sure at some point, but it's probably less than 10 minutes.
Yeah, it's not so difficult. Any new question, guys?
I'm curious, maybe someone has their opinions on what they heard, or about our plans. These meetings are supposed to be not only a presentation of what we are doing, but an open conversation. So guys, if you want to publicly shame us for something, or congrats on something, oh, thank you. That's the right moment. Thank you. Like, we're extremely happy. We have amazing investors, and we're very excited about our plans in the future. We will not reveal that, of course, because it has to be surprise, but we're working in so many directions right now, and all of that will start coming together at some point, probably early next year.
And a lot of new stuff coming by.
Oh, Jacob, that's the props for you.
Good to hear that. We are planning several more videos in the next weeks, so you will see more for sure.
By the way, if you want us to create some more videos, either like about more basic stuff or more advanced stuff, feel free to request that on Discord, to DM me, Jacob, Aether, anyone, like, whatever you need. We'll try to do this. We can afford it.
So the funding is still committed.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, definitely. As we stated during this presentation, there will be basically two types of integrations and kind of ecosystems. We'll have open source integrations, which will always be on MIT license, always free. And those integrations are for platforms that either have a free tier, or a very low tier, or an open source version. So that things like Venger, like Shopify, like Magento, this kind of big commerce, this kind of platforms. But we will also have enterprise integrations that are not open source, that are part of the license, for platforms like Salesforce Commerce Cloud, Commerce Tools, SAP Commerce, which we are working on very heavily with the SAP itself. But our goal is basically to deliver Vue Storefront to as many people as possible, and to allow it to work with any platform, with not only e-commerce but also CMS, payments, etc. So yes, we will remain open source, and I will tell you more. We can right now invest much more into our community. We can sponsor the contributors. We can make hackathons. We can do free trainings, and this is where a lot of this money that we have got we will put. But apart from that, of course, we need to earn somehow, because we didn't get that money just to burn it. I mean, no one would do this, even though it would be nice. So we have a very ambitious plan regarding the monetization, but our goal is, to build tools and to build things that could live on top of this open source offering and complement that. But complement, not compete. So everything that will, that could possibly be in a conflict with a community, we'll just not do that. We want to create a nice hosting platform, marketplace, etc. So things that will allow you to actually get into our ecosystem and solve problems for you. Solve problems that you right now have to figure out by yourself. But it will never be like, we'll never force you to use our services. And we'll never force you to pay us for the open source integrations. On YouTube.
In our YouTube, in our docs, Storefront UI docs. But the YouTube is where they all are located.
About headless commerce itself, how and when do you guys see this becoming the main threat for e-commerce solution? That's a very good question. This is actually, I think that we have discussed even today with Patrick Friday. Like, we think that, it is the time already. It is skyrocketing, and the next year, the year after that, I think that would be the peak of the migrations. But the ecosystem is already mature, and the fact that we are having organizations like Alliance, that a lot of huge companies is right now moving into the headless space. Everyone actually wants to be headless right now. That's the signal that this is becoming a standard. But of course, like everything on the market, it takes time to be adopted. Like probably the smaller players or the startups or more innovative ones will adopt it faster. The huge companies, the huge players probably will adopt it slower. But I have no doubt that we are already in the stage where headless commerce is becoming the main threat. I mean, not many people actually decide to, start new projects with monoliths unless, this is justified. Because let's talk openly, like there are some situations when you would like to use monolith. There are situations when you would like to use Mach approach.
I think that is.
Let's wait like 2 more minutes because there's 17 people, 16 watching us still. By the way, if I have you on the chat, how do you like this new format? Do you find it entertaining? Would you like us to focus on some different things? What would you like to hear? Don't be shy.
It's very important to know the feedback from you guys.
Okay, you are shy. That's okay. Oh. To be honest, like right now we're focusing on having English materials and producing them by ourselves because they could reach the biggest audience. But if there will be someone who is willing to, for example, add subtitles into them in Portuguese that are not automatically generated because those are usually very bad, we would really welcome this. Oh, so many questions right now. Do you consider current Vue Storefront stable and production ready to use for clients? I think yes. I mean, we are already using it for some clients. Of course, for Vue Storefront 2, you still have to consider it as being early adopter. But it is definitely stable and production ready. We're doing this for quite some time. We tested it in Battle. We're also, if there will be any kind of issues that would make it not suitable for production, we will prioritize fixing them and probably sort that out in a very quick time. But so far, so good. I mean, it doesn't have 800 live cases like Vue Storefront 1, so of course, there is still a room for some issues, but I would say it is. Definitely, you can start new projects, you can tell your clients that it's production ready, and there's, I think, like 20 or slightly less shops on Vue Storefront 2 that are actually on production already.
Have feedback from the live stream. Yeah, cool.
Cool, that's cool. Oh, another cool. Oh, hahaha. What's the plan for upcoming queue for Vue Storefront? Yeah, so we basically want to start the Vue Storefront platform, which is kind of like a new chapter for us because it's not only a place where you could host Vue Storefront shops, but you want to be like the epicenter of the whole ecosystem. So you'll have a marketplace in there, you will have all the monitoring, analytics, maybe some kind of gamification regarding performance. So that's super exciting, to be honest, and this is something that we're focusing on very much. But as I said, we're working on so many streams. Another stream is community, which Aitor is leading, and we finally, can fulfill our biggest desires regarding that. We can create an ambassador program. We can sponsor our community. We can really go full on with hackathons and online events. And hopefully at some point also we can bring back the on-site events on different parts of the world. For the open source itself, we want to build ecosystems around all big e-commerce platforms. Right now, we're looking for the right partners to do this because we are aware that every platform is basically a separate ecosystem and it needs to be treated individually. We need someone who really knows the space, who can lead the integration and who could work with the community. So yeah, I think it's pretty exciting. I mean, as we stated, our goal is to become a market standard, and to become a market standard, you cannot be lazy. You need to really work on all the possible fronts. Whoa, so many questions. I knew it.
Yeah.
Yes, we have plans, and this is actually one of the things that we are building right now. It's called Vue Storefront Academy. Right now, we are recording the first videos, and we want them to be available only for the agencies, so they can test things out, provide feedback in controlled environment. Once we are sure that the quality is good enough to show that to the community, we will also just make it available for you. And okay, you asked also about Vue School. So this is one thing, but we also want to cooperate closely with different e-learning platforms, especially Vue School, because we are having a very good relation with them, to put some very quick courses on Vue Storefront, from the ground up, and maybe have some more advanced stuff on our Vue Storefront Academy. Yeah, so this is a tricky question because we were part of an agency for a pretty long time, Divante, and inside Divante, we have built plenty of projects. I think that Lights IE is one of the biggest ones that we have built. But as Vue Storefront, we are not doing implementations. This is what our partners are doing. We are supporting them fully. We are also having consultants who can jump into the project or support it all along the way. But this is not what we are focusing on. We are a software company and we are focusing on building the best possible software. No, that's a short question. But let me put it differently. In both cases you have Vue.js. In both cases you have components. So the UI layer could probably be easily translated from one to another. But there is a completely different engine, and there is a completely different way of using that. It's similar to migrating from Vue 2 to Vue 3, because we are using Vues in Vue Storefront 1 and we are using composables in Vue Storefront 2. The same we have this in Vue 2 and Vue 3. But what we will do and what we are planning to do is actually to write a quick tutorial where we'll be mapping different features from Vue Storefront 1 to the features on Vue Storefront 2. So it will not be something that can be done automatically, but at least you will know, you will not be on the dead end, and you will know what you have to migrate in which way.
This is a very tricky question.
I can answer this. So we are currently in the discussions with a very, very popular provider of WooCommerce hosting about building the integration together, but it is on the very early stages. But even if that won't work, we are looking for a partner anyway. So you could expect that something like this will happen sooner or later. And for all the integrations, our plan is basically to work closely with some agency or multiple agencies, ideally, but also to have some people from our side leading the project. Mostly, for the community, for the education, for the support that we can give you. So yes, we have that plans for WooCommerce, and it is one of our priorities. We first want to cover, of course, the biggest integrations. Sometimes we're also covering the smaller platforms if there is an agency who is just approaching us. But yeah, that was a very long answer, but to sum it up, yep. No, it will not be a plug and play, definitely. We already see that Next 3 is very different from Next 2, but it's complicated because if the frameworks works differently, we will probably also need to make some breaking changes in the Vue Storefront itself to adjust it into the way how Next 3 is solving things. But the good thing is that we thought about that from the very beginning, and at least on our side, we have built a lot of abstractions around our code. So I would expect that most of the stuff will be able to handle, under the hood. But definitely there will be some parts that will have to be migrated manually. I know that Next itself is making a lot of breaking changes in modules. So if you have some custom modules, for example, then you have to rewrite them. But from the Vue Storefront perspective itself, like if we will talk about things that are not dictated by Next, I would say that there won't be any significant breaking changes. We are thinking about making more exposure of the code to the template, so basically putting composables in the theme. But this is not a breaking change. This is just automatically copying over things from npm package to your code. Yeah.
This is a tricky one for me. We don't have yet a release date for the multi-store. We plan to release the stable before releasing the multi-store. But once it gets released the stable, we'll focus on the multi-store. We'll have some partners that said they want to do this feature, but it's up to the community because the developers and the maintainers are focused on getting the stable ready and fixing the bugs and having it stable before focus on the multi-store. Hope your question.
Oh. Yeah, that's a tough question. That is something that we fortunately have very well figured out. And my way of thinking is that both, Vue Storefront and no-code platforms, they will just have their target groups, and none of them could satisfy all customers, because the no-code, when you are having a very standard, I would say, e-commerce setup, then it's probably a great way to use just a no-code tool, because there's no sophistication. You're just going with the default setup, just marking some checkboxes, and you have a working e-commerce. But if what matters to you is having something that is fully customizable, that will stay with you for longer. For example, if you decide, okay, this vendor is not for me anymore because they either change pricing or they are missing features that I need right now because my business has outgrown it, then Vue Storefront is much better. And our goal is every platform is basically trying to lock you into their ecosystem. So when we are talking about the no-code platforms, basically if you decide that you don't want to be with them anymore, you're losing everything. Of course, it is a trade-off. It's much faster to set up this kind of store, but at the same time, when you decide that it's no longer for you because of some reasons, you're losing everything and you have to start from scratch. And for Vue Storefront, we wanted to be the last front end you will ever need. So if you start using this, if you build something on that, no matter what you will change, no matter what services in the future you would like to use, no matter if you want to host it on our cloud or on your cloud, you will still be able to use that. And that's kind of our promise. But okay, this is I'm going a little bit far from the original questions. So basically, I think both will skyrocket. The headless commerce itself is skyrocketing, and every no-code tool, it has its limitations. And the more sophisticated your project is, the more limitations you have. Also, if you're making a very heavy investments into your front end, you probably don't want this to be owned by someone else. You probably want this to be owned by yourself. And to make it owned by yourself, you need access to the code.
Right. It's a monthly update, so it will be monthly, presumably monthly, and the idea is that you're gonna have it by the end of each month, this update stream. So stay tuned for the next month, on the end of the month, for the next update.
Yeah, I know that we are not doing this very regularly back then, but back then it was 6 of us doing millions things. Right now we have grown. There's more than 50 of us. There's Aitor, whose the only responsibility is to make you guys happy. and to make sure that you're aligned, that what you are telling us, that your feedback is being listened and applied to the software. So we could expect those meetings to be monthly, but not only this, because we're also planning to do regular meeting for contributors and integrators. We're also planning to do hackathons in a much better form than previously. So yeah, exciting things ahead. Like if you like open source, if you like contributing, if you would like to participate, I think that's amazing things are coming. By the way, I'm not sure if you noticed our new logo.
Yeah, very good logo.
Not that I'm bragging about this, but it's beautiful.
You have a very specific question on how to structure a project. So,
you mean like to keep it at the same repository as the Magento code? Definitely not. Like, you know, the one is running on Node.js and the other one is running on the PHP server.
I would separate it on the PHP under another repository. Definitely. You could run on the same server, but not recommended.
I mean, as long as you don't have a team of full stack developers who are for some reason working on both at the same time, it doesn't make any sense, not to mention that the deployments will be harder. I mean, I've seen this kind of setups. I've seen the repositories when you have a backend and frontend like together and they are separately deployed. I think it's now a matter of your personal preferences. But probably, you know, like statistically, it would be a bad idea.
I have people thank you about the opportunity to chat with us.
Thank you as well, and I'm really happy that you guys are so active, and I hope it will remain like this for all the other meetings as well. Again, like this Vue Storefront community update is not only an update, this is just the beginning, but I hope the rest will be a nice, you know, discussion. Any news on the Storefront UI React implementation? Actually, like nothing new happened with that. It was kind of canceled. Like the people who were interested in that, I think at some point they just lost their motivation because of the amount of work. And I think they expected it will be much less to do. But you know, if you would like, for example, to work on this, you have our full support. This is just not our priority right now because we're focusing on the Vue.js ecosystem. But the Storefront UI project itself, you know, it's perfectly suitable for all kinds of platforms. I will tell you more. I think there are some libraries like Review, for example, that are allowing you to port Vue.js components into React. I have no idea how well it performs because as far as I know, this is just a React wrapper on the Vue.js component. But you know, there are many different ways. For example, you can extract the Vue.js components as a web components and then use them on the React applications. All a little bit hacky, of course, and it's like the first class support. But you know, if you're very motivated, you can achieve anything.
Durations, everything.
No more question, I think.
Okay. I will still wait like 2 more minutes because last time I wanted to finish and then we had questions for
15 more questions.
Yeah.
More 20 minutes.
Again, guys, like it doesn't need to be questioning. It could be feedback. It could be public shaming. We're open for everything because we really want to build something that will help you as much as possible in delivering the front ends. We really think that, you know, the whole complexity that is there on building front ends, like, you know, I actually had a presentation about that on Reacticon. It's not only building the front end itself. It's, you know, the design system, the UI libraries, it's caching, like front-end caching, back-end caching, progressive web apps, it's the data orchestration. It all goes far beyond just, you know, the front end itself. And our goal is basically to build tools that are aiming to solve all of those problems, ideally separate tools. So if you have anything else in your stack, just use that. Where can we? Oh my gosh. Are you a secret agent? Because we have one guy in the company who keep asking us about that every day. Yeah, so we're waiting to release the merge until we have a new logo. And right now we hired a great guy that was doing a merge for one of the top software companies, and it is amazing. And we expect that to land on December. Probably we will not have it available, as a store at the beginning, but at some point we'll probably open a store as well. Of course, if you run on Vue Storefront. But we'll be able to send merge to contributors. You can also get some of our events, but all of that will happen from December.
Stay tuned.